Hello and welcome to part 7 of this tour, and we're going to continue from the sculpture Isis, which is behind me, and keep going up between the lakes and just looking at the sculptures and the planting and really everything that's just so beautiful around here at the moment. We've just had some young geese hatching out and they're very close by, so if I turn around we'll be able to get a little bit of filming of those. That's a beautiful sight. It's a lovely story about these geese. They're mainly grey lags, but actually they're crossed. We had many years ago we had a white goose that came with a group. Well, there was a whole flock of white geese on the other side of the river from us in the field. And then one year, when all the other white geese left, this one stayed behind. And it would just call and call to all the other geese that flew past, and it was just a white domestic goose. And then one year it actually latched onto the swans and their cygnets, and we called it nanny goose, as it just kept an eye and was brought up the rear of the cygnets. And then the following year again it was in the field calling, and a flock of grey lags flew over, and they used to come every spring and just feed opposite us. And when all the other grey lags flew off, one of them stayed, and nanny goose and the grey lag goose became a pair and hatched a group of little goslings who grew up. And since then, every year we get all these geese coming back to the lakes and breeding. Nanny goose came back for a couple of years, but we haven't seen her for a long time, and there were some of the offspring were actually part white geese as well, but again we haven't seen them. But now we just get these lovely grey lags coming in, and I think we've got about 3 pairs nesting on the lakes at the moment, and this is the first batch to hatch. And then behind them you can see what we call the lookout, which is a lovely little hut with a deck, table and chairs, where it's an ideal place to stop and have a picnic. And now we'll start going up the causeway between the artist's pool on the left, and there was sorry, you probably didn't catch it on the video, but there was a green sandpiper that just flew along the lake. We've just had a few of them in the last couple of weeks. It is a glorious afternoon today, and you can hear the bird song. It's absolutely amazing at the moment. Wake up to it every morning, and then in the afternoon you just stop and listen. We're approaching now one of the sculptures. It's a sculpture of a falcon, and it's the base is really based around Fibonacci measurements, which are called the perfect measurements, similar to what the Nautilus shell and so much of nature is based around that. Behind that you can just see the zoom in, the ideas bench. I'm often asked where I get my inspiration from, and so I made the ideas bench. It's carved out of a solid piece of limestone, and I say that's where I go and I sit, and all the inspiration comes. a lovely little spot down here in the corner of the artist pool as well. We call it the artist corner. It's a lovely little hidden away place where you can sit in the shade of the afternoon and look out over the lake. The swan sculpture you can see is actually covered in green netting at the moment because we had a problem with Mr. and Mrs. Duck deciding that they'd like to roost on there overnight, and as they roosted there overnight they pooped all over it, and so it was constantly being covered in duck poop. So we put a little bit of netting on to try and discourage them, and hopefully by the time we reopen they won't be doing that any longer. In the lake behind the falcon sculpture, in the next week or so, I'll be putting out a new sculpture there, which is a steel sculpture of swallows, and that I'll actually do a video of the installation of that, because there's 3 swallows going out there which are 4 meters tall. They're made out of steel. It's a little project I've been working on while we've been in lockdown. On the left now, we've left the artist pool, and this is Rainbow Lake with the magnificent silver birchwood behind, which we planted 10 years ago. And there's a few willows in front of them, and then we'll be going around there soon. As you can see, there's lots of new trees being planted. This is an Indian horse chestnut, which is just coming into leaf. Beautiful colours and beautiful delicate leaves. Now we're just approaching another raven sculpture. This one is called Quoth the Raven, from the poem by Edgar Allan Poe, Quoth the Raven nevermore. On the left here is the entrance to the island. This is one of the places we rent out during the day, and I think it's the only place in the UK where you can rent an island for a day. Luna's joining us again. This is such an idyllic spot on the island. It's where we come in the evening for a glass of wine and to watch the sun go down. But there's a lovely little hut here with a wood-burning stove in it as well. We'll just open it up and show you inside. Lovely little stove. So this is actually perfect for a picnic in winter as well. as in the summer. In the summer it's nice sunny days. Outside there's a table and chairs for up to 6 people, and it's just the perfect spot in the dappled shade from the trees to spend a quiet day with close friends or just by yourself. Around here as well we've got a Wallamy pine, which was thought to be extinct, and then they found one and they bred it, and we've actually got one of them here. Planted it 10 years ago. Actually no, golly, it's a bit more than that now, isn't it? About 12 years ago. It was a tiny little tree when we first planted it, and now it's getting quite tall, but nothing like it will grow long after we've gone, of course. It will take decades to mature and to get to its full height, but there is a saying that goes that he who plants trees loves others rather than himself, and it is, you plant trees for the next generation that come through, because you know that the trees you plant, you will never get to see them reach their full maturity, but it's just lovely to watch them keep growing. Here there's a gorgeous oak tree overhanging the lake. And on nice warm sunny days like today, you can amble down to the jetty and dip your feet in the water. Doesn't get much better than this. That's it for part 7 of the tour, and join us again later in the week as we continue around the lakes and just see more of the sculptures and the plants, the wildlife, listen to the birds, just generally pass the time of day. Very nice of you to join us, and thank you.